Next question is from Guy Pettigrew. What's the best way to incorporate isometrics as a form of trigger sessions to enhance mind-muscle connection?
Isometrics are, I love seeing that more and more people are talking about them. Because when we started the podcast, nobody talked about isometrics. Justin would bring it up.
Yeah.
Nobody talked about
talking
them.
to a wall.
Yes. And then that got me interested, and I would start reading the research back then. And I remember, seeing all the research, and it sparked my interest as well. So it's pretty phenomenal. I like isometrics to movement based, not necessarily muscle based. You can use a stick or a PVC pipe for some of the stuff, but you get into a position, you hold that position, and you drive the stick into the wall or into the floor or up into the cage and hold the position. It's quite intense. It's a bit exhausting. We have some YouTube videos on some of these, some movements. I think we have a YouTube video on the Dumphy squat, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe a couple more that we can link to this. That's the way I like to do it. Bodybuilders of the past would just pose and flex, which is not a joke either. Like for anybody who's ever competed in bodybuilding and knows getting on stage posing, it looks like they're not doing anything. You try to pose and flex every muscle at the same time and hold that position for 30 seconds, and that's a form of isometric.
Well, and also, too, I think that you could hold the most difficult portion of the exercise, like say the very bottom of your push-up, and just hold that, for an extended amount of time and focus on that, or like a pull-up or a chin-up, and really kind of focus on, the most difficult portion of that rep. And I think calisthenics work, type exercise work very well for this, and to be able to hold it in the position that you struggle the most. I think that's another way to kind of approach it, besides, using a tool or something to kind of drive that.
Yeah, I'm assuming this person is asking because they want to build more muscle. That's probably the main goal, but I'm with you, Sal. If I got somebody who wants to incorporate isometrics and it's on trigger days or their off days of training, I would prefer my client focus more on like mobility stuff. So like Prime Pro would be a good example. The webinar that I did on this, where you do 90-90s and isometric moves that are going to benefit your overall movement. And the reason why, and I know at first you may not think, I want more of the pump, I want more of the muscle, I want to build more muscle. But if you work on these limiting factors, like with your squat or your like combat stretch for ankle mobility, like let's say you can't break 90 because you're limited because of your range of motion in your ankles. Well, you doing isometrics for like combat stretch and doing that on your off days is going to benefit the depth of your squat. That newfound range of motion on your squat is going to benefit you muscle building wise.
Yes, totally.
So if my client was asking,
I bet more people will get more benefit from doing what you're saying than any other form.
And I believe so too. So if a client asked me this for that reason, I would still push them in the direction of, okay, well, let's address
good call.
Your range of motion that you lack in your shoulders or your scapula, or your ankles or your hips, and let's do those isometric holds that we have in Prime Pro to address those things. Because if I can get a greater range of motion out of your shoulders, a greater range of motion out of your squat, like those things will end up adding more muscle and also benefits you as far as like the way you feel too. Like if you had any chronic pain potentially bothering you, or you just want to prevent chronic pain from happening in the future, like that, I think is a better choice of utilizing it as a trigger session.